Hello, hello, and welcome to the Color Whisperer Show, where we talk about all things home and healing. And I'm super excited because we are doing some new stuff here. Looks like we are live on Instagram, possibly even TikTok. And I want your questions. So, whatever it is, send your questions to Mark. It's at Mark, it's bluesradio@gmail.com, I think. And you can send pictures, you can send your questions, or you can type them in the chat. He's going to be monitoring the chat, so if you can put your questions and pictures in the chat for Instagram and TikTok, that would be helpful too. And then we can look at them and get your questions answered. How much fun is that? So this past weekend, I got to do a home show, and I've never done a home show before. Not like this, anyway. I mean, I've done little things like street fair, or I've done uh, like some church fairs or something like that. But this was a full blown booth. This was, they said like 4,000 people went through. So that's exciting. And they're all interested in doing home stuff. So I was very busy and answered a lot of questions. And of course, what's my gimmick, right? I'm like asking, oh, I'm asking people to go, bye, what's your favorite color? And I love that because it was just like there was no harm. Like there's no harm, no foul. They could answer. They didn't have to buy. It's just like, hey, what's your favorite color? And I give them a bookmark. And I had bookmarks for almost all the colors. Somehow purple didn't make it to the printer, and I don't know why. But I'll do it again and purple will go. So I had all the colors of the rainbow out. And I have to make teal next time too. There's a lot of people that wanted teal or turquoise, and I didn't do. That's what I call a secondary color. So I did all the red, yellow, blue, green, orange, right? Um, but I didn't do the secondary colors. So people would come up and they'd get their bookmark, and for each color I had a saying on it that had a little something to do with what it meant. And it was really cool to watch because everybody would say their favorite color, and then I'd give it to them and they'd read it, and then they'd smile and they say, yes, that's true. And people don't realize how much impact color has on them and what it means. It's just like, oh, I like this color. Okay, this color feels good. And that's okay. Not everybody knows what style house they have. And, there's a lot of things I don't know that, I don't know how to do SEO. I don't want to know how to do SEO, So we all have our skill set, and that's good. If we all knew the same things, it'd be a very, 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 very boring world. But because my job on this planet is to enlighten people on the power of color and all that it can do, it's really amazing to watch people, and it gave them a glow for a second, and some of them were there. They'd lost their homes in the fire. And I had one lady that started crying with me. A couple of ladies did, actually. But this one particular lady, she just started crying, and she says, Jeanette, sometimes I just start crying and I don't even know why. And I gave her a hug and I said, you know what? That's normal. I explained to her about the grief process. And part of the grief process is letting it out. And when it comes to a person dying, I always say, love doesn't die. Love does not die. A person that you love so much, that made such an impact on you while they were living, they're still there. We just have to learn how to talk to them more differently. It's like when you have a baby in your belly, you don't know what it hears. There's definitely communication that happens between mom and the baby, and there's definitely response, but that baby's not listening with ears the way we know. The baby can't speak with its mouth. There's other ways it finds of communicating. When you have an animal, they don't speak words to us, right? And so love when we pass is the same thing. It's just a different way of communicating. And I told her this, and I told her after my mom died, about a year after, I was like, I'm still sad. And it wasn't like I need to go get on Zoloft kind of sad. It just was like she was talking about, every now and then I just would break down and cry. And I would be fine. And then all of a sudden, from nowhere, just the tears would come. And so I went to go see a psychic. And I don't remember nothing else this lady said. But what I do remember was worth the money and then some. And she said that those moments that we're missing them, that's when they're missing us. So that's when the veil is really thin, and that's a time to talk to them. And that turned those really sad moments into a space of communication, a space where I could feel love. I explained this to this lady, and I said, you know what? Your house has a spirit too. I said, remember Pippi Longstocking? Pippi Longstocking? Villa Villacula. What a fun name to say. Villa Villacula. And the house had a spirit. She talked to the house, right? And when you go to Europe, the houses have names. When you go to grand castles here, they have names. Thomas Jefferson's house is not Thomas Jefferson's house. It has a name. He named it. George Washington's named after Mount Vernon. Okay, he wasn't as creative. But these homes, they have names because they are spirits. They are entities. And their job is to take care of us. And all those houses that burned down, they felt, it failed in a way. And so I told her this, and she's like, it did feel my house. You're right. It did feel my house. And it helped her to know that her home was still thinking of her. And it was okay. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. It's okay. Oh, one more. Maybe not. Okay. And it's okay to grieve. It's a powerful thing to grieve. And I've been through a lot of different grieving. If you've watched me for a long time, you know some of it. And, I remember I was in high school, and that's the first time I remember hearing the phrase, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. In my naive mind, I was like, bullshit. Why should I risk being hurt? It wasn't worth the risk of being hurt. But as I grew older and I did learn to love, yeah, it is. Because you only miss them so much. Because you love them so much. If there wasn't good, you wouldn't miss them. If there wasn't love, you wouldn't miss them. And your home is no different. I had my first apartment. I didn't miss it. It was cute. It was fun. I was glad I had it. It was the perfect thing at that time. I was there maybe 3 years. There wasn't a connection. And I knew it wasn't going to be I knew I was there temporarily when I moved in. I knew it was not going to be, Some people like apartment living. They like the community. They like not having to fix things. They like the freedom that, they can change whenever they want. And that's okay. That works for them. I always knew I needed a house. And I didn't really name that house. It wasn't as deep a connection as my house. And when I walked in my house, I knew. And see, that's the thing too, right? So here's the thing that even supports that whole house spirit thing even more. And those of you who've bought a house, you'll know this. A house is probably one of the most expensive things you'll buy in your lifetime. An outfit, a few tens of dollars, maybe hundreds of dollars. A car, 20, 30, 40, 50,000. Maybe if you're lucky, you get to spend 100,000. A house, several 100,000, $1 million, maybe multi-millions. And if you talk to realtors time and time again, they'll tell you this, that people fall in love pretty instantly with a house. They know. And it's amazing when you think about all the things that could go wrong. Yes, you do the house checking to see if it's okay and everything. But when you walk in that home that's going to, it's like, yes, this is my house, or no, this is not my house. It's instinctual. And that's because the house does have a spirit, and you either connect with it or you don't. And when you do, you know it. There's a lot of other things at play here as to what makes it, does it have all the functions that you need? I mean, of course. But, okay, you're looking for 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a garage. I could show you 1,000 homes that have 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a garage. And I love watching House Hunters, and it cracks me up sometimes too, because people go, oh, I don't like the color in here. It's like, oh my gosh, the color is the easiest thing to change. Oh, I don't like the carpet in here. It's like, it's so easy to change. What you want to look at is, and they're adding stuff into what they need to do to move. I totally get that. It's like, okay, we buy this place, we have to paint before we move in, or we're going to have to paint, soon after we move in. Maybe you don't like the fact that it's got Formica countertop, or the countertop's too dark or too light and you need to change it. So there's a lot of things that come into play, but ultimately the house got to have good bones. And that means the actual structure, like what's the main layout of the space. It's got to feel like home, or you got to be willing to put a ton of money into it to make it feel like home. My house was total fixer-upper, and I was absolutely fine with that because I didn't want to pay extra money to have a house that everything was white, which I wasn't going to like, and it would have just made me need to paint it sooner. And let me tell you, there's some ugly colors in this house. And actually, the colors, well, okay, my dining room was like crayon box purple. Like, I'm talking this box of 7 crayons purple, like really grape. And it was sponge painted, and it was sponge painted by kids. Oh my gosh, it was terrible. That was the first room to go. And the bedroom was also sponge painted by kids, and it was green. I'm like, okay, it's not a green I would have picked, but I'm like, okay, that room didn't have to change right away. We can wait a little while. And I didn't care because I knew I was going to transform any house I bought. So why pay extra money to have them go in and paint everything white when I'm going to go in and paint it anyway? So I'd rather take that money and renovate it myself. So anyway, I explained this to this lady too about how do we know when it's our house? Because there is that moment that that it doesn't matter that this is the most expensive thing you probably buy in your lifetime. And you just know almost instantly. There's I've heard realtors say, "Oh, they fell in love with the kitchen." It's the cook likes the cook likes to the cook. One of whoever owner is loves to cook, and so they made a kitchen that they fell in love with. I have a friend, and she bought her house because of the garden. In the backyard, there's this beautiful garden. Half of the yard is hill, which is okay. They've got plants and stuff on it, but they also put this beautiful, the people who owned the house before them, put this beautiful waterfall, gorgeous waterfall. And it goes into, it's literally a cement pond. Remember the Beverly Hillbillies? Well, this is truly a cement pond. So it looks like the shape of a pond. It's a regular, and it's not very deep. It's only like 18 inches. So it's more like a wading pool. You couldn't really do like full swimming in it. But it's a pond, but it's cement. So it's truly a cement pond. And she fell in love with that. And like the rest of the house is okay. She likes it, but and they've done a lot of renovating. They've renovated the master bathroom. They've repainted everything. She's slowly making it the rest of the house hers. But what she fell in love with was this waterfall. So you never know what's going to take. She wasn't looking for a waterfall, but she loved her backyard. She loves being outside. And when she saw this little haven of something she hadn't even imagined, and it's very cool. And there is something magical about having a pond. I inherited 2 ponds with my house, and it's not something I would have ever thought about doing. And it's been a truly wonderful experience to have these ponds. Even sometimes the raccoons come in at night and wake me up, especially in the summer. They're hot, and they love to go splash in the pool at night. I can't really blame them. I would too. They got all that fur. They're hot. The water's cool. So I would do ponds again. So if you want something to kind of upgrade your backyard, there's some inexpensive ways of doing it. It takes time, but it's a pretty cool thing to do. So I want to know how many of you have ponds. Well, Mark.
I was popping in because I was thinking about the ponds at my grandmother's house, and there's definitely ponds there and everything. So we've definitely had some ponds in our backyard. And I think I mentioned to you that my dad actually has a turtle pond because he's an avid turtle collector. So he has living turtles both inside and outside. But there is a turtle pond outside that he's had for probably decades now and everything like that. So I'm just wondering, in your thoughts around ponds, should they have living creatures in them or not? Because I know that some of the ponds, like the one at grandma's house and definitely the one at dad's house, has turtles, and I think the one at grandma's house still has fish because some people will come and even go fishing in the pond. But I was wondering, do you think that those are good for decorative ponds, or do you think decorative ponds should just stay decorative?
Well, that's kind of the joy of it too, is the animals. I mean, as much as the raccoons have caused me consternation, it's also been kind of fun to have them. And I do put fish in my pond, but I do also realize that it's raccoon food. I mean, that's just the nature of life.
Right.
And so my niece came over one time, and I needed new fish, and I hadn't had fish in the pond for a while, and she was like, "Oh, Jeanette, we have to go buy some fish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go buy some fish." And she found this little koi thing about yay big, And goldfish you can buy. It had goldfish when we got here, and goldfish you can buy for like hardly nothing.
Yeah.
And you can buy a bunch of them for like hardly nothing. And because I know it's raccoon food, I don't really want to invest in fish. There are people that have some beautiful koi ponds, and you can put there's like a chainmail almost that you put over it to keep the raccoons out, because those koi can get like hundreds, even thousands of dollars. So if you've got the expensive stuff, then there is stuff you can do to protect them so that the raccoons don't get them. But
Yeah.
she fell in love with this one little koi fish, and I'm a sucker for the kids, so I said okay. And I said, honey, it's not gonna, I don't know how long it's gonna live, da da da. And she said, it's okay, Jeanette. Anyway, so she fell in love with it. So it stayed around for a while. I do give them places they can hide, and eventually the raccoons are pretty persistent, so they get them. But it is kind of really neat to see the natural. My family had a turtle. My sister had a turtle years ago, and my mom thought it was gone. It just disappeared one day, and my mom actually thought some kids stole it. Now maybe they didn't. They brought it back. I don't know, but it was gone for like 6 months. So my mom figured it was hibernating,
Hibernating.
and then all of a sudden it came back, and we just figured the turtle was gone. I don't know how exciting turtles are as a pet. At least hers didn't seem to interact that much, but she didn't really interact that much with it either. So I suppose, like any animal, if you interact with it more, it will respond.
Yep. And my dad definitely interacted with his turtle. One of the turtles was a rescue turtle, so he actually put roller skates on it. It didn't live that long because it was actually injured, and I think that's where he found it, was on the side of the road where somebody had probably
Oh,
run into it and stuff like that. So he put some roller skates and helped it get around for a little bit, so it had a little bit of a longer life. And he had another one that passed away after having been around for many years, probably a decade or two. But Buttercup, yes, that was the name of the turtle, and everything actually lived in a doghouse because it was a tortoise. It wasn't just a turtle; it was a big tortoise and everything. So he
those are
actually,
big.
yeah, he was a big turtle. He was a big animal. He was a big guy, and Buttercup lived back in the doghouse that was heated and enjoyed life out there. And I think the ones that Dad has now are some of the smaller turtles because he's been dealing with his own health issues and everything. But he still has his, as far as I know, turtle collection and everything like that. So yeah, man, they, like you said, if you interact with them, then they will sometimes interact back with you. Is what I have observed. Mm-hmm.
And turtles live a long time, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Turtles live a long time. Tortoises live even longer. Tortoises can
Yeah,
live
like
longer than us.
hundreds
They
of
can live
years.
like 100 years or something like this. I think the Buttercup might have lived to be probably maybe 20s or 30s. But yeah, tortoises can live up there to like, past our lifetime of like, I think there have been cases of tortoises that have lived definitely up to 100, if not longer.
Yeah. No, I think it's fun. I mean, I have cat TV, I call it.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the neighborhood cats come and visit my yard, and it's in the summertime, it's not uncommon for me to hear some. Usually it's a raccoon splashing in the pond, but it's kind of nice. When it happens at 3 o'clock in the morning and wakes me up, it's not so nice, but it's still kind of cool. My mom, she heard all the tales of the raccoons, and she said, I'm going to come and spend the night sometime. I want to see the raccoons in the middle of the night. And I said, well, I can't guarantee anything, but you're welcome to come. And she waited up by the window for a long time waiting to see the raccoons, and I don't remember if she got to see them or not, but
Yeah,
she did
raccoons.
get to hear them, you know.
And I think we've had a couple of rabbits, and I don't think there's been any raccoons, but definitely some rabbit and them deers in my community here in Durham, North Carolina. So yeah, it's interesting to see those even natural creatures. And yes, I do know about cat TV because and even gecko TV, because when I had my geckos and when I've had pet cats, yeah, they will sit there and they will watch things out of the window sill. So yes, it's their version of cat TV. So they'll sit there and observe the whatever is going out in outside nature. Like today, they probably would have seen some birds, and definitely yesterday they would have seen some small butterflies and things along those lines. So yeah, they love to observe too. I know even sometimes when I go to the bus stop to get to my job, I'll see cats just sitting out there looking outside. Sometimes they give me that look like, "Hey, do you have the key? Can you let me out?" And I'm going like, "I'm sorry, I don't live in your house. I don't have the key. Can't help you."
Yeah, my first cat, she wanted out. She was mostly indoors, but in spring, oh my God, she wanted out so bad. And I just like, you know what? I let her out. My husband didn't want her going out, and I understand where he comes from. And at the same time, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be inside. Why am I forcing her to be inside? So
Exactly.
she didn't get to go out very much. But my cats that I have now, they were, I got them young, but they were used to being outside. And one of them, he loves climbing trees. Like
Mm,
if when it's raining, oh, he just is so sad. He doesn't go out in the rain. He doesn't want to go out in the rain, but you can just see he's like, "Mommy, make it stop raining." And I'm like, "Don't have that power." And he just goes and sits on the bed and sulks all day. And he's very unhappy. And, it's not my fault, but he's very unhappy. And
mm,
so I just like, and especially after COVID, I'm like, I'm not going to keep them in. I would rather, that he gets to enjoy his life, and I went stir crazy inside all the time. And it's like, he doesn't go far that I know of. But
mm,
I mean, they do spend a lot of time in the yard. They know what their house is. And he likes to climb trees. He brought me a bird the other day
mm,
that he caught and killed. And I'm like, and he still had a branch in his mouth with the bird. So I know he caught and killed this one.
mm.
And, he's so proud of himself. I brought it. Look what I did, Mommy. And I'm like, oh, get it out of my house.
Don't need that. Don't need that right now. Don't bring it into
I'm
the
so
house.
proud of you. Get it out of my house.
Don't have it now. I don't want it. I know that feeling and everything. You don't want it right now. You mentioned earlier Thomas Jefferson and the name of houses and everything.
Monticello.
Yes, Monticello. So I was just wondering, what are some of the other cool name houses that you remembered? And maybe if people are watching it, I did see that Rosemary was here earlier, and it was actually, I believe, Eve Cornelius, who is a musician, that says that she enjoys having her house, uh, like that inner piece of putting stuff in the house and the design of houses. So she likes having that kind of like uh, creative spirit in her house design, is what I think she said, if I remember correctly. And I'll try to find the exact quote, if not later on today in this episode, in an upcoming episode. But yeah, I remember she wrote that to our chat line and everything
It's
like that.
so
But
important to be creative in your home. Where else do you get to show your creativity?
right,
Where else do you get to show it? You can't go to work. Oh, they let you put a picture on the desk. Big deal. Maybe you get to choose. You want a purple pen holder, blue stapler,
right,
whatever. But you don't get to have that much personality at work. And then your car, okay, you can hang a little crystal from, I mean, like, your house is where you get to show your personality, and it's your sanctuary. This is where you recharge. So it's got to be filled with things that you love.
yeah,
100%. It's got to be filled with things that you love. And and if somebody gives you a gift and you don't love it, throw it away, give it away, do something with it. It doesn't need to stay in your house. My mother-in-law, oh my God, she loved purple. She loved purple. Everything was purple, 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 purple. She didn't have to wait till she grew old to wear purple. She always wore purple.
mm,
And apparently she felt that I needed purple in my life. And so despite the fact that there's nothing purple in my house, I never wear color. She knows color means a lot to me, and that I'm very specific about the colors that I surround myself with. And purple's not one of them. But all of these things didn't matter. Apparently, she still felt the need to give me purple. And so, really, she was buying stuff for her, but that would feel greedy to her. So she bought it for me. So
Right.
she gave it to me. It was somehow okay for her to buy it, but she couldn't buy it for herself. And I'm like, she bought me purple earrings one time. I'm like, what? You did not buy these for me. Maybe did you bought them for yourself and then you decided you didn't want them and you're regifting them? I don't know. But I just was like, every single time I open a present from her, it's purple. And I was like, I finally got to a point where I'm like, you do realize there's no purple here.
Right.
I don't like the color purple. I mean, and then she started giving me burgundy. Like, well, okay, whatever. But you know, people, pe- people can be very unobtrusive. Like they're not really caring. Oh, I bought this because I liked it, and maybe she liked the saying on it, and they had it in other colors because you can tell they had it in other
Right.
colors. And I'm like, although it's funny, I'm gonna be in a wedding coming up in a few weeks, and the bride was really funny. She says, I don't want you spending a lot of money on the wedding. I don't want you spending a lot of money on a dress. Just wear whatever you have as long as it's a lavender or purple.
As long as it's never.
Lavender or purple. And I just started laughing. I said, you do realize I have to buy a dress. So what do you want me to wear? I started with, what do you want me to wear? And she goes, oh, that's, well, da, da, da. And I'm like, you do realize there's nothing in my life that's purple.
Right.
There's nothing in my house. There's nothing in my closet that's purple. I do have an old suede skirt that I want to get back into that's not really purple, but kind of sort of purple. And I got to lose a lot of weight to get in it. And it wouldn't be appropriate for a wedding anyway. It's just a regular short skirt. It's not a bridesmaid kind of dress anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm like, you do realize I have to buy something. So
Right.
what do you want me to wear? I'm like, and there's not a lot of bridesmaid dresses in the stores. You have to go online and do them. So I'm playing the game of, okay, does this dress fit me? No, it doesn't really fit me. It's the wrong size. The size they recommend is one thing, and then I get it and I'm like, no, doesn't look right. And it's too big, so I have to send that one back and I have to get another one. And this has been like a huge chore. And it takes a couple of days for it to come. Amazon, God bless them, fast as can be. I mean, God bless them. I'm glad I started when I did, because if I waited later, I would be in trouble. But I got one dress and I'm like, I don't really. I got another dress, and then I'm like, wait, I'm not liking these dresses because they're too big on me. So now I'm going to have to go back and redo all the dresses to get the right size. And then I have to wear a jacket. So I asked her, I said, so is it okay if my jacket is kind of a caramel color? Because I'll wear that again. I'm not going to wear a purple jacket again. And it's a place where it's cold. So I know I'm going to be cold and I need to have a jacket.
Right.
And she goes, well, I think that might look funny because of all the purple and blue. And for you to have a caramel colored jacket, that just might be out. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll wear a purple jacket. And the purples clash from the dress that I want and the jacket that I could find. But it is warm and I'm going to be warm. And so I'm like, fine, I'll wear the purple jacket. But it's just funny because and this is what cracks me up with brides. And you see this over and over and over and over and over again. Oh, I'm not going to be a bridezilla, just kind of like just casual, right? And then as you get into it, no, it has to be a purple jacket. No, it has to be this. No, it has to be that. And she's not being a bridezilla. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. She's not being a bridezilla at all. But, and so I was asking her questions about the jacket. And she's like, well, ask the others. I'm like, this is your wedding. And what does the bride want? This isn't up to the others. This is up to you. And what do you want? And so we put it forth into the group text, and she says, well, for the pictures and for the ceremony. And I wrote back and I said, well, I don't think we're going to be wearing jackets during the picture or during the ceremony
Mm-hmm.
unless you tell me we are. I said, if, I'm going to be like Phoebe. You remember when Phoebe got married on Friends?
Right.
She had a gorgeous dress. Oh my God, her dress was so, so beautiful. And she ended up getting married out in like this, they had this weird snowstorm. So she ends up getting married in the middle of the street because nobody could get there. And it's got to be freezing because there's like 3 feet of snow on the ground. And she's like, no, I don't need my jacket. And she does it for the ceremony, which, fortunately is
Yeah.
short. And she's like, I need my jacket now. So that's going to be me.
Nothing for the jacket.
But I'm like, okay, even with the purple jacket, I'm like, I'm not going to expect to be wearing a jacket for pictures. I mean, that's, and there's supposed to be heaters inside and everything. It's up in the mountains and, they're supposed to have heaters inside and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see. I hope it's warm. I hope I don't need it, but I'm gonna have it. So if I don't need it, then I send it back when I come back, and I ordered myself the caramel one.
Exactly. Get the one you want. Sounds like a plan.
I'll bring a shawl too, just in case if it's really gonna be warm in there and I don't need it. Then I just send it back when I'm done, and then if I want to, I can order the caramel one, and yeah.
That sounds like a plan.
I'll wear the caramel one again. Now, once I figure out the dress, and then I'll send her pictures of it and say, okay, what do you think? And I'll get her blessing.
Yep, y'all will figure it out for sure.
It's it's what the bride wants. I mean, that's what when you sign up to be a bridesmaid, you're signing up to do what they want. Years ago, I was in a wedding. And the bride had like the perfect body. Like she could make a potato sack look good. And she did have some issues with, working on the figure and stuff like that. But she really could put on anything and it looked good on her. I don't think she really understood what it was like to have figure flaws because, she could truly make a potato sack look good. Wow. And her sister-in-law just had a baby. So she's feeling very, and I think it was her first child too. So she's feeling very insecure about her body and being in a wedding so close. And, she couldn't get her weight back. And she's dealing with her figure flaws that she's not used to because she just had a baby. And anyway, they got into a little bit of a thing. And she calls me up and I said, look, it's your wedding. I'm going to wear whatever you want me to wear.
Whatever you want me to wear.
And that, how I look in it, it's how I look in it. It's your wedding. And back then the A-line dresses were in, and it's more like the ones with the empire waist where the waistband was like right under the breast. Well, I've got a waist. If you show off my waist, I look 10 pounds thinner. If you hide my waist, I look 10 pounds heavier.
Right.
So that was all the style. Like all the dresses out were mostly this empire waist thing. And I was like, oh, I was so bummed when she picked it out. I'm like, I'm just going to look like a cow. But that's what she wants, and that's what I'll do. And, that's what you do when you're a bridesmaid, So at least this time I do get to pick out the shape, so I don't have to feel like a cow.
That's good.
Oh, goodness. Do we have any more questions?
No, I didn't have any more questions. I was just curious about that. I was seeing if anybody else had popped in, but definitely they can email me at bluesradio@gmail.com and everything like that. But definitely I was going to have to take one of those breaks that all humans, men and women, have to take and everything along those lines. So I'll turn it back over to you for a second, but we're still waiting for questions. And don't forget, bluesradio@gmail.com. We do have the text the show, so you can scan the code and you can also ask the questions online as well. So definitely get ready to answer those questions. We're trying this out. It's been working on some of the shows, and definitely we've got some questions last week. So definitely we'll keep trying this for weeks to come and everything like that. So definitely we had a couple of comments just in terms of people popping in like that Rosemary woman and the woman that I said that was, I believe, Eve Cornelius, that was the jazz musician and everything like that. So we're trying to get folks to engage in with Pod TV. So definitely, if you got questions, you can like definitely Jeanette said earlier. If you got pictures of things that you got questions about your house and the ways that you would questions as to whether you want to hang it there or you want to hang it there, or you don't know how you want to handle the aspect of your house, whether it's your bedroom, your desk, or other things. Maybe you don't even know where you want to put the refrigerator at and things like that. Jeanette can help you with a lot of these and all along those lines. She is the color whisperer. She might even have some ideas about the refrigerator not being the standard white or the standard brown refrigerator and all along those lines.
Brown refrigerator. Where are you finding a brown refrigerator today?
I've got a brown. Well, this refrigerator is metal, and I would say metal. I don't have my glasses, but I would say metal and brown. Black at the best, but it's definitely not the standard white one and everything. So yeah, they found
How
something.
old is that refrigerator? I haven't seen a brown refrigerator in a long time.
Well, it's the ones that they put in the apartment complex. So this refrigerator is relatively modern. So, like I said, but it's got the metal door. So the metal door is silver. I'll send you a picture.
Yeah.
It might even be closer to black, but I'll send you a picture and we can decide whether it's brown or black.
I think we may have some color differences there.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, speaking of color differences, so one of the questions I got when I was at the show quite a bit was, well, my favorite color used to be blue and now it's green. Or, I mean, I'm just picking those two colors, but my favorite color is changing. So does that make sense? I said, absolutely. It means that something in your life is changing. And so I explained kind of how we get drawn towards colors and what goes on. So, for instance, during COVID, white became huge. And white became so big because everywhere we went, we were told, you're dirty, you're dirty, you're dirty. Wash your hands, keep a mask on. There's germs everywhere, right? So there's all this hysteria going on, and white makes people feel clean. So there was a huge thing with white. And then after a while, blue came in pretty big. And blue came in pretty big because blue helps you heal. Blue is physically healing. And we kind of needed that healing because we're also being told you're sick all the time, right? So that blue came in and helped us to be calm under all this hysteria. It helped us to forget how long it was really going on. Shut down for 2 weeks. I knew as soon as I said that it wasn't going to be 2 weeks. It would have been nice if 2 weeks fixed it. And there's all kinds of stuff. Well, but people didn't do anything, whatever. 2 weeks, that's not how things work. It's just not how things work. You don't have to be a biologist to understand how things work. 2 weeks was not going to make it go away. And because viruses, yeah, anyway, I'm not going to get political on that. But anyway, we're talking about color. So green, as we started healing from COVID, green came in because we needed the emotional healing. Green is emotional healing. And it's so important to help us get through those stages. And every single one of us went through some changes during COVID. First of all, it's 4 years. Most people go through some changes in a 4-year time, but we lost friends. People died. People got mad at us, no matter which side of the fence you're on. There was a lot of anger that happened. Many of us had to reinvent ourselves. There was a lot of things that happened here that we needed emotional healing. So greens come in pretty powerfully. And So when you start looking at, I've got a color change, suddenly I'm craving a different color. It helps to know what that color means because it's supporting you. When your body starts craving a color, your body is talking to you. It's asking for the medicine it needs. I've talked about my 9/11 story, the little girl who had all these wide stripes on her walls, and she had dyslexia, so the buildings were like this, these stripes were like this, and it looked like 9/11, the Twin Towers, right before they fell. And she loved sitting in the living room. They couldn't get her out of the living room. The living room was yellow. Well, yellow helps dyslexia. Yellow helps us to learn. So the body was telling her what she needed, but she didn't understand that. She knew enough to follow it, thank God. And because she was a child, she was more in tune with her body. We get taught to grow out of that and be more adults. No, you got to listen to your body. That's so important. Have to listen to our bodies. Don't let common sense and logic overrule that stuff, because your body's going to be right every single time. She didn't even know why she wanted to be in that room, but she knew that was what she needed, and that's what she did. So green has come in because we need that emotional healing. And what they say, that the color of the year this year is brown. The Pantone color of the year this year is brown. I look at things from a very unique color perspective. When Trump and Hillary were running in 2016, it was really interesting to me because for the first time, at least in my professional career, Pantone came out with two colors of the year. One was pink and one was blue. One girl running, one boy running. It's the first time we've had a woman running for president. But what was even more interesting was, what color does Hillary wear all the time? She wears blue. And she wears blue because it's the color of her eyes, and it makes her feel more approachable. And it makes her feel more trustworthy. And Trump is known for that silly pink tie. I don't know why he does that. I guess it's supposed to make him feel more approachable. It was a thing for a while for men to wear pink ties. It made them seem less, more, and made them seem more approachable to women or something. I don't remember. It doesn't work on his coloring. It doesn't work for him. But I just thought it was fascinating that here we have this election, and we have these two colors coming out, and the shade of pink was kind of close to the shade of pink of his tie, and the shade of blue was kind of close to the shade of blue that you associate with Hillary. And I just thought, this is going to be a really fascinating race. And then before the election came out, the color of the year was very, very dark purple, almost black. And I looked at that and I said, well, they're not expecting much hope no matter who wins. So the color this year is cocoa, which is grounding. It's a dark brown, and it's a very grounding color. When we had gray come in for a while to make people feel safe, but kind of getting over the gray. And brown does help people feel more closer to nature and more.
I had some interesting news for you, by the way, and everything like this. I thought I'd share this with you. This is from last week because after a while on TikTok, they give you actually analysis because you wanted analysis. And on last week's show, we had 63% males watching and 33% females on one of the little short segments because, they do segments and everything. And we had people of all age ranges. So 18 to 24, 19% were in that age range, 25 to 34, 14% were in that age range, 35 to 44, 19% were in that age range, 45 to 54, 20% were in that range, and then we had 28%, 55 plus and everything like that. And that just about everybody was from the United States, but we did have somebody watching from Bosnia and somebody watching from Spain. So that was folks that were watching in these clips. So we are getting some demographic information as well
That's
on
pretty
each one of
cool.
these that are put out and everything like that. You got to get over 100 views and everything. And that was one of the short clips that I did of yours last week's show and everything. And then it got up to like 110 or 115. And that was the demographics on that. And we think we're talking about the house decorations on that particular clip and everything. But yeah, it's getting some engagements, and we're getting engagements from throughout. One of the other ones is at 90. So, and even this one that I just did recently of this particular show is up to 32 already. So after we get to 100, I'll have some insights, because apparently they give you insights on TikTok, unlike some of these other places.
Nice. I'm interested that there's so many men watching, because usually my audiences are full of women, and so I'm intrigued by that. I don't know what, and I wonder if the age brackets also coincides with the age, what the overall TikTok age groups are, because TikTok's typically more of a younger audience than say Facebook.
Yeah.
So, but I'm very intrigued that 60%. I've done a lot of speeches in my life, and none of them have been 60% men. If there's 6 men in the audience, they're usually married to their wife and they're doing husband duty. So I find that really intriguing.
Yeah, it's intriguing. Like I said, we'll keep experimenting. And of course, if people are watching and they have comments or they want to bring some things into the space of conversations, maybe they've got some things that they're doing in their quote unquote bachelor pad and everything like that. But maybe they've got some reasons that they need some decorations and all along those lines. Maybe they're trying to figure out what to do with that big screen TV.
One of the main reasons men call me is that the girlfriend's gone. There's been a breakup, whether it's girlfriend or wife, or even husband, or but the breakup is there, and they want the comforts of home. They want to feel that homey feel, and the partner was the one who did it, and they don't know how to do it. So that's one of the big reasons I get men.
Yeah, and it could be that case. Like I said, that was just one of the clips, because I think I did 3 or 4 of your show last week, and I'll do some more this evening and everything, because they also have this AI thing that you can do on StreamYard where I can Kev. They will do AI created segments, but they will pick a topic within what you're talking about. Like they probably will say something about the housing or the ponds and stuff like that, and they will create them into segments that I'll probably upload as well. And some of those may get more comments than others, but yes, this will be a good way.
Are you uploading those to Instagram as well?
Yes, they go Instagram. They
upload. Can you tag me in those?
Yep, I can do that.
Do you upload them to Facebook?
They can't be uploaded to Facebook. I don't think the first time I did it, I didn't do it. I don't think to Facebook, but I can upload them to Facebook and tag you on those as well.
That would be awesome.
Yep.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. And we'll see what other kind of engagement. Like I said, that was the first engagement that got over 100 that I actually noticed the insights, because I actually just noticed that now. I think there are a couple of other shows like the Bully Show that's on Sunday and Coco Show that's on Thursday that's got musicians that might have been over 100 as well. But this is another way that we can get some insights as to who's watching the show. And I was surprised too that it was 60%, or at least on that one segment. But we'll see if that maintains, or if that was a what do they call them, an anomaly.
Yeah, that's really cool. Because I mean, if it's mostly men watching, then I need to change kind of what we're talking about to gear more towards the kind of design projects that men would be likely to do.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, we'll just keep the process going. I know that last week, the people that commented on the show and were making comments, I think were pretty much all women, which is what you're used to and everything. We do have Real Spit Radio dash media that has been listening to our conversation, and ACIS, and I think I know that person as well. So we do have a couple of folks that have joined the conversation on this particular
Thank you for joining us today.
And if you've got questions, even though we're winding down, you're going to get to Can-Do Spice shortly. But if we
got 5 minutes. If you got a question, put it in now, because we got 5 minutes left.
Yep.
So don't be nervous. Don't be ashamed of your place. That's why you're asking for help, right?
Exactly. We'll see if they've got questions.
Well, this has been fun today. Just kind of going through some general questions, and we'll kind of keep up this pattern for a while and make sure that people have the space to write questions in. There's always a few questions that I get asked that I like to start with, and then we can bring in yours as well.
Yep. So, sis, if you're still watching and listening, it looks like you are because you have joined the conversation, or Real Spit Radio _media. If y'all have questions, maybe you've got an actual physical radio station that you're trying to physically figure out how to design and everything like that. I don't know that for a fact because I got to do some research as to who Real Spit Radio is and everything. But whoever you are, if you are interested,
fun name, isn't it? It's a fun name.
Yeah, not fake spit, Real Spit Radio. It is a fun name.
I grew up one of the radio stations that was big here and still is big here. It was called K-Rock, and it was K-Rock. I can't do it. So this English guy was the DJ, Richard Blade. He's on Sirius now, but they had to teach them how to say it. It was the rock was accented, and it's on K-Rock, and so Real Spit sounds like it just kind of flows off your tongue very easily, right?
Yes.
And it sounds like something that wouldn't be difficult to
have fun with,
right?
Definitely sounds like it was something easy to have fun with.
Indeed. Well, let's see. Talking about Real Spit, one of the things our spit does is our taste buds, and how does food taste? So why don't we go to Can Do Spice and get some really wonderful tasting food in our bellies.
It sounds good to me, and I'm actually going to do that later because that's almost dinner time for me. But yeah, let's check out Can Do Spice.
Lunch time for me, baby. I'm going to go use some of those Can Do Spices right now.
Sounds like a plan. Let's check out Can Do Spice.
You know how people love to enjoy food and don't understand how to flavor their food or how to replicate a meal? They're interested in supplements but don't know where to begin? Well, what I do is I take the guesswork out of enjoying flavor and wellness with my flavorful spice blends so that they can create delicious meals with healing benefits. Can Do Spice was created to help cooks at any level enjoy healing through food. Every spice blend was designed to give added health benefits of natural herbs. Every blend is complete. There's no need to add any additional spice for a delicious meal. Saving you time and money while adding supplements to your meals can be both tasty and fun. My earliest memories in the kitchen began with my father, Kenny Can Do Bond, so it was fitting that I would name this line after him. I have always looked to natural remedies to supplement the body, and I found myself hiding herbs and minerals in foods for my family. That's when it hit me. Everyone needs Can Do Spice. Everyone should be having this. It's an exclusive brand for cooks at any level who want to create flavorful dishes with healing benefits that can satisfy the body and soul. Add a little spice to your life. Give Can Do Spice a try.